Alright. Let's see, it looks like everything is working. Hello everyone, it is Ben from Second Dynasty. It is Friday. I don't know where I'm getting this energy from, but I'm excited to see you guys in the chat. I hope you'll join me today for about roughly an hour of just shooting the breeze and talking about what I've been working on this week, what I should have been doing, what I actually did, and what's coming up soon. So that's basically it. I was kind of like in the zone and listening to some Iron Maiden, and then just forgot that I'm meant to be streaming right now. So sorry if it's a little rushed. Everything is working. Thank you, Shergul. So before we get started properly, we stream on Fridays at this time. Just giving general updates of the work that we've been doing with our 3D printable tabletop designs. And this session is going to be focusing a fair bit on the upcoming Exoplanet Kickstarter. So you can find the link in the description below. And while you look for that, I'm just going to give a shout out to some of our awesome subscribers here. So if you want to become one of them, make sure to sub to the channel to be notified when we go live on time. But yeah, g'day to Clive, Solo Spirit, Shergul, Doug, Tamsin, Hazard Rat, Dalton is here, Brian is here, Will is here, and yeah, I think that's it for now. So say g'day when you get on if you want to, or just hello, or whatever your salutation of choice might be. And we'll get on with things. I've made a huge amount of progress, but I have been wrestling with Maya for about 2.5 days at this point. Me and ChatGPT have been trying to make some scripts to clean up this scene because it was chugging along and taking about 2 to 3 seconds for each and every interaction. You can see now that the scene is moving about quite quickly and fluidly. And it all came down to the fact that I was actually using 2025 at home instead of 2024 at work. So 2024 could read the scene, but was being chugged down by a bunch of useless data. Ironically, now I'm on 2026. I'm talking about the version of Maya I'm operating, which has some cool new features, most of which I'll probably not use, but they do have like this cool voxel-based Boolean operation now, which I'm pretty sure is, yeah. Can you ask what hardware I use? Fairly old computer at this point. I've got a 3090 graphic card. I have about, I think this machine's got 64 gig of RAM. And then a bunch of, I only use solid state drives, but I am in dire need of a new one for my Dropbox folder because it's only a terabyte. So yeah, that's the basics of the hardware. I can't even remember what kind of processor it is. It's like, it was sort of like a top of the line sort of computer maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It works great now, still, but yeah, it's alright. Let's see, executive planting. So I'll get back to that, but I'm working on 2 of the new sections this week. This is the executive suite progress so far. I'll go over it a bit more, but I'm just sort of like nailing down the designs. You can see a lot of the tiles are being test printed, and in fact, maybe I can quickly switch over and we can see if we can turn on the light here and see if we can see anything on the movable camera. So let's see, maybe we can get that to go down just a little bit more. Maybe. Not really, but you can see here the lighting's not great. It's a fairly dark day. I don't want to turn on the ceiling light though because it will flicker. But here you have some demonstrations of how the executive parts go together. So these are quick printing. The big innovation this week is actually our let's see, is that the correct one? I don't think I showed these off last week, but sorry, these are test prints for the garage, and now I am presently printing the proper prints, and they should be finished in about half an hour, I think. I've had this chugging along for almost 24 hours at this point. But there are semi-permanent backs, and I say semi-permanent because apparently I told John that I wanted a permanent back section, and then realized actually it's better if we can still swap things out. So I haven't actually tried taking one of these off yet. I'm doing something off camera, so I'm trying to get this off to show you guys how it works. Well, actually, I've got one. It's just it's not a full back piece. So you can see here that this is a corner piece, and it has one of its back pieces. So this is the sort of like outward facing rear section, right? It's made of 2 filaments, so it prints flat like this, and it's just got I think it's only 2 layers of the sort of other metal color there. So very fast printing for the back, and prints on its, because it prints flat as well, that also is much, much quicker. And then you just slide it in here on the back, and this would go down here, but this is the opposite of what it actually needs to be. I'm sorry about this. Maybe the light's too bright. Let's try lowering it a little. Maybe that's a bit better. So you can see just a little bit. I don't know that I have anything here that is ready to go. So let me see if I can find something on my desk of troubled pieces. Here we go. Here's a fresh one. So this, for example, is one of the garage walls. You can see it has these sort of like channels on them. Sorry, I'll try and get it focused. It really doesn't want to. I'm sorry, it's all these shiny filaments. But if we take the back plating as intended, I'm not going to slide this all the way down because it'll be permanent, but it just like slots down over this channel. You drop it down like so, and there's just like a little notch in the sides here that will fix it in place. So you can see there it's the wrong one because it's got that sort of angled corner bit. But this will save considerably on printing, and it also means that we can customize the backside of the tiles, which I really like. So far you can just see some layout testing, very loose at this point in time. The window sections, I think that one's clipped in, this one isn't. So these just clip together like the other style of windows. So you can put in some plastic if you want. I haven't actually measured or cut anything to size. And then in Maya I've got a lot more going on as well, so I'll switch back over to that, and that will also let me see Le Chat. Let's see, what is Le Chat saying? Let's see, gotta love that subscription model. Is the Silk Perle it looks really good on camera? Yes, it is Silk Perle. Silk Plus from Bamboo Lab. Very shiny in chrome, says Tamsin, and Brendan is here and says good morning everyone. Good morning, Brendan. So yeah, I have a shit ton of variations already out. I've got this new sort of doorway model. We've got the connector here for a corridor. I haven't decided yet on the full finished layout because at the moment we have like there'll be a bit more junk in here because I really haven't cleaned this scene for a while. We've got like the research lab would be there, and I'm thinking of making a way for there to be a sort of airlock between the hangar and the garage, and as you can see the garage has developed considerably more. So Exoplanet itself won't have all of these vehicles by default. There'll be like 3 categories essentially, where it's either the expendable pledge, which means if you backed expendable, get that one, that'll have all the new stuff in it. The Exoplanet pledge, which will include all of the terrain, and accessories like these bits and bobs that are ripped off vehicles. And then there'll be a larger pledge with all the sort of back catalogue of vehicles if you're missing it. Or you can just pick them up as add-ons as wanted. So that's the plan at present. We're still looking at, I think, November 3rd launch. It's a Monday. And yeah, this is really starting to look a bit busier. I'm still considering like how we could do, like a gantry. I'm thinking mostly a smaller gantry that's portable, and then maybe a larger one we could look into when we expand it with stretch goals. That would be something better to do, because it would be quite hard to get, some of this machinery off this thing. Presumably there's also like an additional level on most of these. You could add it in yourself. We've got the doors. They're not really rigged up to work this way. They'll probably connect with supported clips in the sides there, so it will still be expandable. But the idea would be that this door would open here, this little bit would slide in there, that little bit would slide into the wall there. We're not actually going to show it. We're not going to make it mechanically possible. It could be done. It's too out of scope for what we're doing. So we've got a lot of detail here. Let's see, what are people saying? Sam says hello. Every Ninyan. Hello, every Ninyan. Everyone, obviously. Executive office needs a bar. Yes, I do have a list of things that I want to add to the various different areas. So, for example, why I call this like executive planting today is because I want to make some potted plants. I know Blasted and Kathy have made some cool plants and that sort of thing, but it's not quite the sort of like bonsai tree like or lush rainforesty type plants that I'm looking for. So I was thinking I would whip up some today while we're on stream. So yeah, just a couple of different ideas here split between the executive suites, which is like, obviously so far I've got like, you've got your boardroom. I kind of like the way I solved this table too, because I've actually done it as two side pieces. So you would print them on their sides and you get this nice, cool looking, sort of, I guess, hexagonal shaped table. Looking for something a little bit more like this. This is unnecessary, but like obviously, let's turn off the research lab because there was some conflicting areas. I'm thinking like the overseer's office is ridiculously large for no good reason. It's just a case of, showing off. We've got some more windows, customized big long ones. We've got our sort of sitting room influence thing, and you could honestly like, this will be made in such a way that if you grab these pieces and just rotate them like, I'm not exactly sure how much it is. I think it's like, might be 22 degrees or something like that. No, it'll be less than that. But yeah, if you rotate them a little bit, you could fill in the seats. Oh, that was not essential. In any case, so you could actually, the cushions are made so that you could have a more complete look. I'm just trying to move a little bit away from directly ripping off, Alien Earth or Alien or whatnot. So it still should feel like it can exist in that universe, but that it's not a direct copy. Let's see. Executive office needs a bar. I agree on that one. That sounds suspiciously like a catcall greeting sound. Nyan. Yeah. Okay. Expendable. Yes. Derivative content. Welcome. I appreciate the expendable hanger. Sam is fine. Butler charging station. We call that a churn. Sakura and overseer sounds Voltec. Yeah. Exactly. I'm hoping to have some underfloor lighting with these ones, kind of inspired by Alien Earth. Again, you caught me in the middle of sort of laying out some of this design. But yeah, let me know what you think the garage now, if you would get excited by some renders of this thing, because I am printing it, but I need to start promoting. And, you know, we put in a lot of the suggestions you guys had. We've got some shelving, we've got some, you know, extra tires, tanks and things. And I would make, you know, a pack of this stuff that I've cut up available as sort of like set dressing. But I think the shelves, they are designed to print on their backs. So it would print like this, right? And the idea is you would print out the shelves and then you would actually populate it yourself with set dressing. So I guess you could attach with blue tack or with glue if you wanted to. The point being that you can get a little bit more variety. So yeah, we've got some older material, we've got some new material, we've got some expansions of old stuff. Just making it feel busy. And again, like the whole purpose of putting GridForge on Kickstarter for the first time for us, hey Blasted, is to actually, you know, try and reach a slightly wider audience than we would on Frontiers, obviously. Also, I kind of feel like now we can come back to some of our older backers that might have taken a first look at Frontiers and thought, and then, you know, we have this as an option. And there are a ton of, you know, vehicles in action. I can't wait to start printing some of these in color, but I don't know how many I'll get done in time. And then I have a ton of new lighting kits to sort of rig up and figure out how to light these things. One of the things that people have talked about, and I've noted too, is we have these exterior clip holes. It was always my intention, because I didn't think the Frontier would do... you can never make assumptions with this sort of thing, but honestly, we didn't reach the audience I was hoping to reach with the Frontier. So there were plenty of ideas that we didn't actually get to explore properly, which we will now. And one of those things is just having something that covers this up. But not only that, I did start making some very basic items to sort of mount lights on. And I want to do a lot more stuff to sort of like tidy up the cabling for lights. So you get a lot of, let's see if I can switch the cameras over again. So the brick bling ones that I get, it's like these long cables, right? And you connect it into, like this is one of the sort of boards. Sorry, these really aren't coming up very well today. But there's all these connectors here, so you just plug them in. There's no wiring. The wiring's all done. Which is, you know, much, much easier for an idiot like me. It's also a case of, like, it's rigged up in such a way that the power supply, you know, it's not going to burn out or whatnot. So, sorry that this is so hard to get into focus. It's probably because of all the ships and stuff in the background. But you know, if I actually had a piece of paper or something, I could probably block off the background and you could actually see this stuff. But this is a tiny light. I'd say it's about 1 mil wide with a maybe 3 mil base. One example of things, there's a bunch of other different types like these ones. This has 2 lights on each circuit and they're a little bit larger. So this would be the ideal sort of thing to hide it in what looks like a row of spotlights or something. Great for exterior lights, that sort of thing. So I really want to start designing some elements that will plug into that and also start creating ways to hide those cables. So to do that, I want to make use of these ports on the side. And we could also do a bunch of variants where it's like, just like we did with the corridor here on this side, we have these sort of like mounting brackets. Well, we could potentially have, you know, some kind of additional support structure that plugs into that to really give it a sort of like more interesting appearance. And I think these came out quite well in the finished product. We have a variety of different door types I'm experimenting with too, like some thinner ones. Like this door is ripped straight out of the Odyssey, and those partitions, you can actually see the example here. We used the same design in the Typhon and Erebus, Let's see. Just telling John I'm streaming right now because he's requesting some stuff. Where did my chat go, though? There we go. Okay, so conference table also looks like a modular feature you can see from office furniture suppliers. Could add other pieces for different configurations. Yes, you could. Doug says, it's not sleeping, it's a dead shelf. Kathy is here. And by the way, I think I don't think I added the link for Kathy's campaign. Let's maybe I have it here somewhere. That's a boardroom table. That was our little document here. Is that it? No. I'm just looking for signs. I can whack it up on a different window here. And I had it. There it is. Outpost. Outbound station, sorry. Let's see. We almost got 200 backers. That's awesome, Kathy. Right, so let me switch that to Maya. I'll drop this in the chat. If I can almost send it to John. And then we can look at this a little bit. So Kathy has the honor of being the first official GridForge supporting Kickstarter campaign, to my knowledge, in any case. And yeah, there's some awesome designs. The floors are all completely compatible, and then a bunch of us have done a bunch of different wall solutions. Blasted has also done some great stuff so far, and we're getting more and more people using the system, which is great. But if you haven't checked it out, back this campaign, it's actually fairly cheap for what it is. Hundreds and hundreds of file variants. And all of this will actually go very well with the expendable stuff, sorry, the exoplanet stuff. I have deliberately stayed away from, like here you can have a mess hall. You can have, the kitchens, and there's some, worker bedding and that sort of thing. So a lot of these are compatible. So you could have your hydroponics and other sections of the sort of Maya outpost. I believe this is a combination of Kathy's plants, and these ones are from Blasted Camouflage, which look really great. And kind of like that and Alien Earth inspired me to make some kind of potted plant, which is what we're going to get into today. I just want to make it geared towards color filament. And then I want to experiment a little bit with different filaments. So, for example, having like a sort of light green on the edges, and then maybe a fluorescent green included as well to sort of like take advantage of the color printing. I need to think about it a little bit. I'm not great at organic modeling. It's one of my weak points. Man, that looks great with the camera, with the focus and that there. Absolutely awesome. And Kathy made some... You should check out the pitch video, because she did do a really good job of demonstrating how GridForge is so customizable. So I'm definitely going to rip off that idea. I hope you don't mind, Kathy. So check that out if you haven't already. Again, the link is in the chat. And there's a lot of great other stuff as well, although I believe this is the first GridForge project, right, Kathy? Anyway, you want to try trees where it prints in midair and goes all fuzzy? Could be challenging. Anyway, check it out. Let's move back to our stuff. Are there any general questions today? I'm just going to read the chat a little bit. So if you have any questions for Second Dynasty, let me know. I see Blasted has one coming up. Hello to Griffin as well. Brian is... Yeah, I already read that one out. Brendan says, making the back customizable and changeable is genius. Saves a bunch of printing for interior wars. Yes, indeed. And the same system works fairly well. Like, I even did a version for the Windows. Doug Jeffries says, how was John supposed to know you were streaming? It's not like it's a weekly scheduled event. Yeah, indeed. Kathy is really chuffed with the 195 backers, which it should be. I think that's great. Nice to see things going well. It's very encouraging. John has appeared and said, "Forgive me, Lord, I forgot it was Friday." Kathy says, "My walls were based on the ones John sent me, so match yours in height." Yes, the height, I mean, is standardized to GridForge. Sorry, to OpenLock. So, I know Blasted has used ones that are like you rotate the tiles, and I think that works really cool in the fantasy dungeon area. So there's even going to be some fantasy tiles soon. Shergol says, "Doesn't Philips MTV modular training vessel count as GridForge?" Yes, yes, you're correct. It has GridForge floors. Doug says that Blasted 7th launches plants look great. Yes, they do. Kathy says, "I want to try the trees where the prints in midair and goes fuzzy." You're gonna have to explain that to me at some point, Shergol, or whoever it was that gave her the idea, or Kathy perhaps. All right, Blasted has sent a question. "I have a bunch of other alien plants, so if you need some more, let me know." Yeah, that's awesome. Although my current plan with the executive suite is the whole point of it is showing that the corporation executives are rich, and they would have earth plants, I think, deliberately to show their wealth. The same reason why the wall paneling is made to sort of look like wood. So yeah, and of course you can reshade this and use it for all kinds of sort of sections. But the big thing being like there is an excess of space, I suppose you would say. Let's see. Welcome, Swells. That might be good for making Space Hulk board. Indeed, it would. Google 3D print string tree to see what I mean. Okay, I will have a look at that. Marcus, welcome. Looks good. I like the slip-on walls. Yeah, I'm really keen for that, and I just need some ideas for what else to do in addition. But it's a great kind of stretch goal territory because there really are only 2 or 3 different models that need to be replaced, and even the corners, so that everything can still print on its back. The corners are built of 2 pieces, so you can kind of see with and without, and then. Unfortunately, those are already linked. I'm wondering if I have them separated anywhere. In any case, I'll just highlight. So you got one side here, and we need the back panel. So that's, I guess the better thing to do would actually be to have that go upwards. So that just slides down here. There's a tiny bit of tolerance, and as you can see, there's just this little notch down the bottom, and that's what locks it into place. So I wasn't able to remove it without tools. I haven't really tried either. I already have loosened it up considerably compared to John's permanent solution, which I couldn't get to fit permanently, unfortunately. So I think this is a safer bet, just because you'll be able to switch it out. And I have no idea why I thought it was a good idea to make it permanent when you can obviously customize things so well. Shergol says it wasn't me, channeling your inner Shaggy there. I make spaghetti when I try crazy printer tricks. I mean, I make spaghetti without trying it. It's just misfortune. Tamsin says, "Just looked interesting idea, that stringing tree. I really need to look it up later. I can't forget about that." Doug Jeffrey says, "The idea that Kathy was accusing Shergol of giving her was the demonstration of GridForge adaptability." Okay, if you say so. Marcus says, "Could the slip wall be double-sided so that they could be multicolor on both sides?" What? You mean so you can flip it around? Because I would say no, that's not the way the connection works. The purpose is that the wall inside can be a different color than the back panels, and the back panels will print much faster because they're flat. But they would have to be much thicker. You can see here that this goes about half the width of them. So if you were mirroring that, it would be an issue. You could do designs that look okay with that, I suppose, but yeah, it's a bit dodgy. The slip wall is multicolour. The brown side is done with vertical print colour. Yeah, that's right. So the walls... Let me switch cameras again. So the walls here, print standing up. This is the old style. This one took ages to print because only the front panels were brown. The newer ones, if we look at them, you can see that the brown continues on. Let's see, I don't think I've got any that aren't mounted. This is one of the ones that I didn't want to snap into place. So here you can see, this is a double-sided one, that you're just printing silver, then brown, then silver, so much faster. I think there is a different filament for the floor panel as well. Again, sorry about the focus, or lack thereof. Come on. Stupid autofocus does not focus. Alright, in any case. Yeah, so these print much faster standing up. If we printed it with the back plating included, that would take much longer because every single time you swap colors, you can go a maximum, like this has got 3 different colors in it. So every single layer you're swapping, right, wastes a ton of filament. But if you've got the back plating that's separate, then you don't have to worry because you're only ever swapping maximum 2 filaments at a time. And there is a speed increase, a speed bump from using 2 filaments rather than 3 or more. And that is because you can start one layer with one color, switch to the other, finish that layer, then start on the next layer before switching back. So essentially you're doing 2 layers at a time rather than 1. It's still suboptimal, but it's a lot faster. That is the idea. So we've learnt a lot from, you know, our experiences now. But, since they print flat, they don't waste time/filament, but the panels are nice too. I think we're kind of up to date. So I'm going to see what I can do about getting going on this plant thing since we've only got about 25 minutes left. Probably going to... I'm not too worried about going over it a little bit today because I did start late. But in general, I want to make something that has a footprint that's kind of similar to this sort of half tile in size. So I'm just going to sort of do a boundary box, I guess, we might start with. So just sort of pot plants. I am inspired by the ones that Kathy and Blasted have done. And of course, we do have some old shrubs and trees and alien plants as well. But like I said, I'm kind of more going for like the executive lush plants. So I'm going to do 2 different things. I'm going to look at how big we want the base to be, which is about that big. And what I mean by that is like the planter. So let's just say that the planter is... We might do it round eventually. But like, if we move on to our map, something that you could like place in the corners and it wouldn't take up too much space, you know. I'm probably going to move away from building things in, but I think there'll be like a scatter pack where you could put like paintings on the walls or TVs or that sort of thing. And you could position them into place if you wanted to do a custom color printed version, I think. Without too much hassle. That's what we're kind of moving towards. I kind of feel sorry for people that I don't feel sorry for people. It's a shame 3MF isn't like the standard for instead of STL because you can just fit so much more information in there. So if I move this into place just at a point so I can see how I want this to be. I'm just trying to think, how am I going to do this? Because I'm kind of thinking like, let's see, if we just look up jungle firms or something like that, that kind of thing's kind of boring, but like, we're more looking for lush tropical stuff. So here's a few ideas for leaves. Obviously not all of them are good for 3D printing. And if you're going to have anything fern-like, you kind of got to go pretty big. So stuff with leaves like this. Yeah, I don't know. Just that's a cool little diorama. Sort of big type leaf things. I think the main thing is I want it to feel lush, and I also have a wood filament, so maybe I'm thinking a multi-part piece, and I'm thinking maybe it prints upside down. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But let's ditch that and just start making up something to sort of test. So I'm just gonna mark out the rough shape I'm looking for. Something like that. And really, this is not how I would normally go about doing this. Why is that up in the air? That should be on the grid. So something like that sort of fans out. Not sure yet which end is which. But then to sort of give us a good idea, so our filament's we're going to assume we're using a 0.4mm nozzle, which means create polygon primitives, and we want, let's see, we want a cube, and we're going to make the width 0.4, and then we'll move it on the screen. And this is mainly to just have a reference of like how big can we actually go. And it would actually be more ideal to sort of like use this shape in general and build it a little bit more like Lego. So I'm excited for the Bondtech Index tool changer system. Very low cost and simple to expand number of heads. Did the stream explode for me or everyone? Everyone. Me too. What? It's back now? Okay. Sorry, I don't know what happened, guys. How many times do I have to remind you that it's 0.75 as the minimum? Fine. 0.75. Apparently at least one more time. And the good news is, but using Blender you can model the rough shape and jump to sculpting the leaf. Oh wait, never mind. Ha ha ha. Yeah, whatever. So I'm not super happy about making this on stream, to be honest, because I feel like my brain needs some time. But roughly, we've got like a middle section with forking areas. So I think the easiest thing is actually to maybe we can also test out this new feature of Maya. So I'm just going to create the one long, I don't know, is it called a frond? And then we're going to sort of like create the angled versions as well. Do 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 do. I'm just using my tools to roughly sketch out something akin to what we're looking for. And I'm not looking to sort of bend it or give it different shapes at this point in time. I'm kind of thinking if you do it very lightly. John says, don't make a plant on stream. Make more hallways, show off the tribe, show off the bag of mixed nuts you keep on your desk. Put the Benjamin in. I have worn the Benjamin mask today. And learned how to play the lute. Sea plants needed. With fronds like these, who needs enemies? Oh, Jesus. And enemies. Oh my god, guys. My depression is coming back. Alright, let's see how this looks. I think, see, the thing too is, like, I'm wondering how we get the plant effect. Like, if some of it's just, like, going to be putting a lighter on the filament. If we're going to blend filaments. John is probably right. We're probably better off doing some variants of existing stuff rather than this sort of nonsense, which is going to take some experimentation. But, you know, kind of here now. I'm feeling quite silly today. So yeah, that doesn't quite look like it's going to be long enough. I just want to see what we can do. John is probably warning me away from it because he has an idea to solve this, but he doesn't understand my plan is to frustrate him so much that he does it for me. The walls I'm looking for are the corridor pattern wall look from the Nostromo. It would be great if they were already available. They are already available. They were in Starship 2. Yeah, Starship 2. My second Kickstarter, we have walls like that. They are open lock. They are somewhat older, but that's the kind of design. Obviously, we're going to have some more updated walls like that in GridForge for Persephone when we finish doing that ship, but again, Persephone is not coming out until probably, you know, late summer next year. I see. You know me so well. Okay, alright, so we do only have 15 minutes, so maybe John has a point that instead of trying to make plants right now, which we're not going to get very much in the time we've got allotted, maybe we can work on mapping out this section instead. I'm thinking there's like going to be a secretary here. This room is designed to be slightly multi-level, and the other thing too, carrying on from the overseer's office thing, is I kind of like the idea of making this table slide and there being a hatch, and maybe underneath there is, because we do have a second level down here to play with, that there's like a part of the apartment for the executive. I'm thinking here behind this wall we could have like a, or maybe even coming out of this one, you could have like a sort of executive bathroom. The idea would be that this is the place where the, you know, leader. Yeah, you already have them. I'd say Dalton. You have all the old stuff, I believe. So coming in here, you would have this area that you can use for gatherings or festivities, that sort of thing, like the executive cocktail party. You can have a board meeting. You have a ridiculously large office. And then towards the back of the room, I'm thinking maybe we actually have this a little bit more, so that the wall runs along here, and there's actually like a stairwell going down to an apartment underneath, so that the executive doesn't have to go too far. That's kind of like where I'm at the moment. We could also have, you know, some bathrooms. We still could make this so you can make offices and small rooms. I don't know how big it's going to be yet. At the moment, this is 12 inches long, so I'll probably actually add another 4 inches to that, so it is... oh wait, no. It already is 12 there. 12 by 16. So it's probably large enough as is. Let's see. Blasted says, if you don't make a hidden bar that slides out, is it really a supervillain? Billionaire robber baron lair. Doug Jeffrey says, nothing says executive wealth like a bookshelf that swings open to reveal a personal lift shaft. Executives seem like the kind of people that buy books rather than to look good rather than to read, so I don't know. Of course, the entire concept of this is using that it's modular, so you can build what you want with the parts, but the idea is going to be that you should be able to build, you know, offices or a small apartment with reasonably luxurious appointments, or at least in theory by the end of things. You're getting old school aperture labs, office, and testing chamber vibes. That sounds cool. Very Space Myth. The books aren't for reading, they're for show. You might be kit bashing some Portal GridForge tiles later. Okay. Yeah, we welcome the kit bashing. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking out my ass. John did bring up a good point that we really should be maybe showing off tribes this month. We haven't done that yet. And next month. Here we go. Let's see. So this was the latest update for tribes that John sent out at the start of the month. So we got some new modular seating, which I think ended up really cool. We have this new Galaxy Grate, which also comes out cool. Although I don't know if the photo is really showing it off as well as it actually looks in real life. We've got these rocky flat borders, which are compatible, of course, with the existing expendable collection. And then we have the Magnetron and the Mesmer, two vehicles made by Iridani. That is the in-universe fictional company that John made up that knocks off other designs, other better designs. So some of your favorites, they're very derpy, but I love them. And to be perfectly honest, they kind of look cooler when they're actually printed out than the renders. The renders don't do them justice. So this is something John did for me, thankfully, whilst I was able to take a little bit of time off. Obviously, I can't get Albin to work on this stuff at the moment either, because he is currently working on a film project. And then I just wanted to show off too. Let's see, I need to go to our tribes maybe. Oh, I don't like that. So yeah, we have the sort of different levels here at the moment if you want to check it out. The link is in the description below. And I thought I would just show a tiny little preview of next month. But it is a very rough block out at this point in time, I have to say. So I've been kind of thinking of what can we tie things into. You know, Expendable / Exoplanet is a bit more like Aliens style. So let me just, let's see, this is just my reference folder. I'm going to go into my photos because I took a picture of a drawing I did at home. Let's see, a couple of days ago, of what I'm thinking of for next month. And that is a little dropship. So this thing, if you imagine it being a smaller version, something between an attack helicopter and the dropship from Aliens, and also the APC. So the idea is, and let me just save this up and open a very, very rough scene. I might be working on this next week, I'm not sure. I'm still figuring out how to squeeze this all in. But in my tribes folder, there we go, I should have in my scenes what I'm calling the Comanche dropship. And it will just take a moment to load because I think it needs to sync. Let's see, save changes. Yes, I thought I just did that, but we'll double check. We don't want to lose that. So I'll show you what my plan is, Dalton, in just a sec. Because I've started with a block out, but it's extremely rough. So you can see very roughly I've taken some parts of this vehicle we had in the this is like a closed I can't remember, rotary craft. I can't remember what the name is. I think it's actually here. So we called it. Oh, it just says the Scorpion gunship is what we called it. It's not actually in the thing, but so I've been kind of blocking out a sort of cockpit that's a little bit similar. It'll be more updated and flexible. I don't know if that's the final version yet, but I'll probably go for hard surface rather than too many curves, just because we're limited with time. This was the interior of the Centaur APC that we put out in September, and you can see from the inside here that we're just looking at a 3x2 cargo area here. So you would have maybe like, I'm thinking you get like a sort of command station or something here. So rather than having an APC inside of it, it drops down, the troops go out, and the commander sort of stays aboard at the actual ship itself. And then it would have a collection of armaments. One of the things I was thinking of having is not like a huge amount of weaponry, but maybe like stowable missiles. So it does kind of follow the spirit a little bit of the Cheyenne. But rather than folding out wings or whatnot, it's just going to have like pop out missiles and some sort of like gun pods or missile pods, that sort of thing. So probably similar armaments to this thing. And that's kind of like my ode to let's see who designed the dropship. I think this was a Ron Cobb, the final version. Ralph McQuarrie did do a version as well, but it wasn't the finished one. Dalton says, great, I can actually get my aircraft/dropships for my Old Mongoose Publishing Starship Troopers miniature game. Well, there you go. Some good stuff. I know, ironically, I did say I would run over this session if I was doing plants, but since John got me off that thing, I'm going to sort of focus a bit more on this. So I'll probably quite soon just do a sketch over of this thing, clean up the image, give an impression of scale, and we don't want to make it too close to the dropship. I think this is going to be a case of some people will look at it and say, oh, this is the dropship from Aliens. Those people not being as familiar with it as they should be. And it definitely has some DNA of that in the design. But is distinct enough. Again, we're not trying to copy. We're trying to create something that feels like it could exist in that universe using the design language. So I'm actually thinking, let's see, what else do we have to call out to? So if you are interested in the background, I'm just going to get some expandable loading again. That's going to take some time. We didn't actually change anything, so we don't have to save. Yeah, sorry. Just trying to focus here. So that's going to load up again, but I really believe that GridForge and what has become of Kakita Station, and it is now a part of Exoplanet, is worth a wider audience. I hope people are going to be interested. I did want to do huge send-outs this week. Wow, I'm forgetting one of the biggest milestones we had is that, Fifth Frontier War is finally delivering. I believe John said the first 10 customers have had their order shipped already. It's proceeding on a per customer basis based on pledge number. So if you were one of the early pledges, you'll probably be contacted soon. If you don't get back in touch, it just sort of like will take in a new 4 or 5 new people and continue to try and get in touch with you until it is all resolved. There are opportunities to buy additional stuff. John's actually put out additional miniatures, which I don't know. I'll share some of it. Like, for example, here is just he's going to do some modifications, but we have, for example, let's see, if I bring up Kathy's, maybe we can stick it in there. So let's open link. So there's one of his Rampart in testing. You can also see some sheets for the boxes. I hope this is okay to show, John. Then we have this pretty cool render of the miniatures. And the box is in the background. And what more? Some cool stuff to show off. Here are some Zidani Warbots. And here you can actually see the finished products. So I believe these are resin miniatures on a FDM base, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe it is resin, I'm not sure. I'm sure John, if you're still around, could clarify. And, you know, a lot of this process has been... There's a lot of work that's gone into it, and we've updated our STL sculpts with supported versions of the modified files that are optimized for printing. So now everything is going through a full test print. We're addressing issues with the meshes, scaling things. Yeah, I'm just scrolling up. I can't. Yeah, here we go with like the sort of extras box. So there are these files. I don't think we offered them originally, but there are, I believe he's added some models that weren't going to be available, like additional poses and that sort of thing. And there will be options to purchase additional vehicles and craft and whatnot. So I'm excited for that to start delivering properly. And of course, you can follow the link below to sign up for our Exoplanet Kickstarter campaign. Let's see. Oh, people are talking in the chat. I'm certainly doing another one with Quarantine Station. That's Kathy saying, like, there'll be another campaign. Will that be this year, Kathy? Blasted says, I hope to do the Fantasy GridForge Kickstarter, but so close to Christmas I don't want to do it yet. I also don't want to rush for November. That's one of the tricky things. I think it's kind of pointless to have a campaign between December and February, to be honest, because 65% of my customers are in the US, which means Thanksgiving, then Christmas, a lot of spending, and a couple of months for wallets to recover, right? Yeah, just yeah, there's a lot of that sort of thing to take into consideration. I've never had proper, you know, proof that that is the case, that it sells less, because people do buy stuff at Christmas as well. But my gut feeling is you're better off campaigning between March and early November, making sure you actually finish the campaign before Thanksgiving or / Black Friday. So in my case, it's really going to be like, if we're launching on the 3rd, we're ending on the 26th, and then I believe this year Thanksgiving is on the 28th. So you just want to sort of end before. My GridForge did well in December. Did it? I don't know. The first one, did okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember that we put that out in December, but I guess we did. But that was on Frontiers as well, so it's a different animal. And Frontiers at Christmas time, that might actually be a better time to do that, because there's a lot more traffic on the page with all the sales and whatnot. But in general, my manufacturer is getting harder to sort of, like, the Frontiers are, just, there's not enough organic traffic. Anyway, guys, I can see it's time to move on. Hopefully you guys are liking the look of things here. I haven't started on operations yet. I'll probably get started on that next week once the Executive Suite basics are done. But I'll probably start promoting with just these 2 new sections, because they're quite comprehensive. I really want to make people that backed Expendable feel like, hey, there's more for me here. And also probably show off, like, I don't think I have it easily accessible in this scene, but maybe in, like, Workshop. Yeah, here it is. I did start designing, like, a lower level for these corridors, and I don't think that's all of it, but I kind of had this, I was doing what John calls DreamCAD, and I was just like, oh, cool, yeah, we'll do the lower angled version and we'll fill it with water. So you can do the whole newt with the alien coming up behind us sort of thing. So that's just an idea I'm throwing out. Just want to make sure that people feel like it's worth it backing it this time around as well. As you can see, there's already a ton of new pieces, and there's a lot more variants than you'd think. So I would expect all up, the complete campaign will have in excess of 400 GridForge options, and then a bunch of vehicles and other things that we'll probably curate. I did also do a few tweaks to, like, this rover, for example, when I was putting in the scene. So we'll see if I end up, doing something with that. But yeah. Anyway, I'll see you guys next Friday. I hope you have a wonderful week. You say that, but I've seen a January Kickstarter do well because nothing else is on. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, guys, have a wonderful week. I will see you next week. Take care. Bye for now. Bye.